Hey everyone, this is Kai from WCC, and today we're going to look at the top 8 match at the WCC VGCS with Jimmy on the left playing Murakumo and Henry on the right playing Royal Paladin. Now, this matchup is very favored for the Murakumo player. They just pretty much go for setting up that field wipe twice in a row, and that is GG. There's really no comeback from the Royal Paladin after that. So the Royal Paladin player has to really focus on rushing early and just trying to destabilize the Murakumo player as much as he can, or go for a very slow game, conserving his resources, putting on pressure with blaster blades, and going for the win that way. Now, we can see that with Henry's build, he is playing the more newer builds of Royal Paladin. In the beginning, there was a lot more variety as what kind of Royal Paladin deck should see. You'd see them playing Soul Saver, you'd see them playing some Alfreds and all that. But now, Royal Paladin has kind of gone to a build where it's more focused on buffing up your blaster blades and putting a lot of pressure there, so you can go for either a Force 1 or a Force 2 play, and just either controlling your opponent's damage at 3 or pushing them early and controlling them at 4. Now, here we can see that Henry has gone very aggressive. He's pretty much dropped nearly a full field, getting a crit off for Blaster Blade, and even boosting that Blaster Blade with a Gordon. So we're probably looking at him trying to hit his opponent up to 4 damage, and then just ride a Ganslot next turn and just go Force 1. And that Gordon can just sit there in the back, lazily buffing all the Blaster Blades that are on the field. But going back to the Royal Paladin builds, a lot of the builds now can go Force 2 simply because you have things like that Wingle that you saw early on that will give slightly more power to Blaster Blades. You still got Gordon. Some of them are even running Murakumo, which is just a Vanguard, pretty much a Vanguard booster. It gets 5k if it's in the same column as a Vanguard, and since all your Blaster Blades are Vanguards, it's able to hit those 22k numbers normally. So playing those cards, you're able to put on a more damage control build with Royal Paladin, which is really strong against things like Pale Moon nowadays, and in a sense Murakumo as well, because you can keep them at 3 if they've locked themselves at low damages early. You can keep them there and just put on pressure like that, and then slowly ride your other grade 3s to get that other crit, more Force 2 markers to get more crit pressure. Yeah, now Jimmy has rode grade 3, and it's just going to be smooth sailing for him in a way. He's developed the field. He's going to confirm, get his field wipe next turn, and he's only committed 1 column. Doesn't have to commit that much. The win condition for him is just a wipe field. Just wipe field, and then wipe it again, and he's won. So he doesn't have to commit that much from his hand, and he still has quite a good amount of defensive options. And Henry just took all that damage. He's gone up to 4, and he's going to G-assist. So bad times for Henry, and looks like it got even worse because he didn't hit. But in a way, that Gordon is still going to do work. He's going to put on crit pressure. What he can do is he can attack Vanguard with a Blaster Blade, and then attack Rearguard with the other columns. He can still, Jimmy can still confirm a Hyuga though. So it's pretty bad, but at least he can't confirm like a Hyaki as well, which would really just destroy him in a way. Like this, just if he gets a Hyaki off, there's not enough cards in Henry's hand to effectively guard that. And wow, looks like didn't get it. He got a draw trigger, so I guess that's okay. But looks like he's just gonna go Vanguard. And if you're Jimmy at the moment, pretty good. You can kind of just take all these attacks and not feel bad at all. At worst, she'll go up to 5, and he's already used a Shiryuki, so these attacks are pretty easy to guard if he wants to guard as well. But you can technically just go up to 5 and control Henry's damage, so he can't heal out of it as easily. And that's exactly what he's gonna do. So here, Jimmy even got the Hyuga ride as well. So this is gonna be a pretty painful turn for Henry. Not sure if the Hyaki is still in his deck, but this is a pretty lethal turn. You can easily hit, just kill his opponent. Especially, he's at 4 at the moment. Henry's at 4, so it's, if he doesn't get a trigger, it's pretty much confirmed that he's dead, because he's gonna get field wiped, and he's gonna have to guard a truckload of power. Now Jimmy's just considering his plays. He's basically secured 2 turns of field wipe, so even if Henry somehow survives his turn, he's just not gonna have another field return after that. Here we go, so he commits a whole field. Everything is hitting 20 because he's running the 12k vanillas, and so it's perfectly onto that blaster blade. Everything is just, all those columns are hitting 30, Vanguard's hitting 25, and the Chikotsugo columns are the weak ones, and Henry preemptively just put back his whole field because shortcuts. So he's gonna attack with Chikotsugo first, I think. One Chikotsugo in, and then he can attack with other stuff, because the Chikotsugos are the weaker columns, and if Henry gets a trigger off, then those Chikotsugos are not gonna hit. But luckily, Chikotsugo does have those other effects, so that's why it's such a good card. Probably should be better than an R. But yeah, here we go. So attacks Vanguard, gets a crit, Henry no guards, and gets a heal. Is he gonna get another heal? And no. So quite unfortunate, pretty unlucky on Henry's part, but that's basically what you have to do when you play with Royal Paladin. You have to play low grade 3 counts to be more aggressive and really just fish for that Gans slot. I know some builds run like 1 Alfred, and that's fine. That's fine, but yeah, very low grade 3 counts. So these grade stuck shenanigans will happen, because technically a lot of builds also run things like Marin and Alan to try and get some draws off as well, to draw into the Gans slot, but I'm not sure if Henry is playing them. I think those slots are probably taken up by those Murabu's and those Wingles. So he's opting for more power over drawing. So that's something that you have to think about. If you want draw, go for the draw. If not, just go for the power. Now, Henry will be able to start, so that's technically better for him. In standard, going first is the best, and just rides normally. And we're gonna see Henry play at grade 2, just play pretty much a whole front row. He plays Conjurer of Mithril, so that will definitely mean that just calls that and gets something else, and then put on pressure since just grade 2. And unfortunately, I think that's a Blaster Blade that went to damage. So okay, there we see the Conjurer of Mithril, and he's gonna call out a Gordon. So you've got some pretty decent targets here. Call out Gordon, or even a Blaster Blade if you really wanted to. But yeah, he just takes the first damage, gets a draw trigger. Jimmy gets a draw trigger, and that is basically the end of Henry's aggression. And here, Jimmy. Here's the thing: Gordon is a pretty good priority target for Murakumo to attack into, because Gordon puts in work. It's, you call him out, you put on pressure, and then later on he just hides back. He just goes to the back row and serves at a boost in power gain. So if you can kill it early, that means it's less pressure on you the next turn. With like a Gordon or 2, your Shiryukis become less effective. You have to commit more cards to guard, and really, you don't really have to go for the damage game against Murakumo here. I mean, Murakumo doesn't have to go for the damage game against Royals. He can just go for the advantage game. If you bottom deck your opponent a few times, there's really nothing the Royal Paladin player can do. Especially when he doesn't have a lot of counterblast to work with as well. If you don't have counterblast, you just don't get advantage. So we can see that Jimmy did use Milling Rat's effect, and he's calling on the other column, so he's committing calling a lot of cards here. He's gonna attack Vanguard, and gets another draw trigger, which is great, but Henry gets a heal, and is able to defend on his Vanguard, but that means that the rest of those cards on his field are probably gonna go bye-bye. Is he gonna guard the Gordon? No, he's not gonna guard the Gordon. So here, Henry goes to grade 3, he's going Force 1. So there's 2 ways to approach this. You can go for the damage control game, as I've said before, and keep Murakumo on 3. Or you can just go for Force and commit little cards, and this is probably what Henry's going to do. He calls another Conjurer of Mithril, and then gets another Gordon, and he's gonna attack the Chakotay skill, a pretty decent target because that is one of the good resource generators and card advantage cards for Murakumo. And he attacks Vanguard with Vanguard and gets a crit, and then Gordon with 30k attacks Vanguard as well. Didn't get a trigger, Jimmy didn't get a trigger, so I can see him just no guarding this. Doesn't want to commit a 20, which is fine because although one thing about Murakumo is that its ratios are pretty grade 3 heavy, so you think that you can bully Murakumo pretty hard early game. But the thing is that Shiryuki is a defensive option, so you can bully him early, but either the defensive option comes in early with Shiryuki, or they can just keep it later and just negate, just basically stem damage from there. And he is playing the 12k vanilla, so it's pretty annoying to attack into it. He has to get triggers or get gift markers to actually be effective. So those kind of factors kind of stem the damage. And here Jimmy rides his Hyuga, he's able to get that, and he's gonna go for probably a Tandemito, right? To confirm that field wipe again. I think that's a Jiraiya in that Excel circle slot. Yep, so he gets the Tandemito. And basically next turn is the confirmed field wipe. Now his field is all full, didn't really commit that much. He gets a heal. That heal is pretty good. Relieves a lot of pressure from Henry, and then starts attack. Yeah, Henry gets another heal, it seems, and then now attacks into the Gordon, which is good. And then that Jiraiya is not hitting. Actually, no, that is hitting because it's got the power. So this Chakotay girl might be attacking into that rear guard, or he can attack into Vanguard and get the effect off. But no, he goes for the rear guard, and then Jiraiya goes for the Vanguard. And then Tandemito goes in and sets up that field wipe. Now, back to Henry's turn. Now his Blaster Blades are active. His Gan slot can be used. So if he's playing Force 1, I don't see why not. He can just drop 2 Blaster Blades and not care. Unless he wants to really try and do a damage control turn. But that's kind of, it's a bit tough to do because your Gan slot is pretty much free. It's a free attack to take. Just pray for no double crit. And yeah, here we go. We can see him get another Blaster Blade here. And depends if he wants to play it or not, because that means he has to play with that Conjure Mithril. And I don't think you'd want to, right? I don't think you'd want to. Calls a full field. Okay, so looks like he's not going for the double Blaster Blade play. This Blaster Blade has a 2 crit, so it is certainly lethal. And it's pretty powerful as well, so Jimmy nulls that and gets nothing. So this is a no guard. This can be no guarded. Just pray for no double crit. Unfortunately, Royals doesn't really play 12th crit because they still run the draw null, but he still guards that just in case. And this last attack just attacks the Vanguard. Not really much of a point to no guard that because he does have enough damage already, and it's a very easy attack to guard. Here we'll probably just see a field wipe from Hyuga, and then Henry should be able to survive. He's still got quite a few cards. He's only at 3, so it's possible. The thing is, Jimmy does have enough counterblast for a Hyaki Vogue. He's got 2 CB, so he plays a Hyaki Vogue, so he might be going for it. Thing is, even with the Hyaki Vogue discard, Jimmy's does have quite a decent amount of hand anyway, so it really doesn't matter. So yeah, there goes for the field wipe. And then the annoying thing about the Hyuga field wipe is that you send all these cards back, and then you kind of decompress your deck a bit, which is pretty annoying as well. So he's used Hyaki Vogue's skill. Everything is hitting massive. And this one is 36. No guards that. And ooh, Henry decides to no guard, and then Jimmy gets the crit. And that is game. That is game. So there we can see Murakumo took a quick game from the Royal Paladin player. Pretty unlucky on the Royal Paladin side. Didn't really get any triggers and didn't really flip that many yellow stars. But that's it. That's basically Murakumo in a nutshell versus a Grey Suck Royal Paladin. Even though the Royal Paladin got Grey Suck, there are some things you can learn from these bad games. Like, don't get Grey Suck, but more importantly, maybe figure out controlling your opponent's damage might be a better play, or if that's not a better play, just going all in. Funnily enough, with the boosts to Blaster Blade's power with new Royal Paladins, you can kind of go all in. If you did get a few more Blaster Blades or like more Gordons, he can really put on a lot of power on his columns at grade 2 and really push through at that point. So maybe it's a tough matchup. It's a tough matchup. Hard to say what happens, but hopefully you guys had fun looking at that game and learning a bit from it. And we'll move on to the top 4 and finals later. Bye.